Hi, my wonderful YouTube audience. This is the SMC Journal podcast, the show where we talk about software engineering, technology, AI, testing, tuning, and all kinds of stuff surrounding software and engineering. I'm Scott Moore, your host. Thank you so much for being with me. Today's topic is a little bit less of the technical side and more on the sales side of software and software engineering. Many of you who watch this show, you've worked in very large companies for years, and you know how the process goes. The bigger you are, the longer the sales cycle is. When you want to buy something, I mean, in some companies, you can't just go to GitHub and pull down something and execute it, and there's your software solution. And there's all these approvals. Many times you have to go with a commercial software package. But there are people on the other side of that trying to sell you that, and they don't want to come across as these car salesy kind of person when it comes to selling software solutions. And I want to talk about a better way to sell software or really anything, but I'm just familiar with it from the software realm. There's this area of sales, and then there's this area of pre-sales, right? And it's typically an architect or a technical person that's riding along with the salesperson who is there to help guide the customer, answer any questions they might have that's outside of just the transaction of buying. But hey, why does this solution that we have really help you solve a problem? And some of you work in pre-sales and you're watching this because of the title, and you're like, I want to be better at pre-sales, and I want to do it in a way that's right. I don't want to do it in this like just, greasy way. You know what I mean? What if I told you that I knew a person who had taken a company, a services company on the tech side, and had in 5 years or less taken them from 280 million to over $1 billion in sales. And not only that, they want to share their experience and how they got that kind of success with you. Would you be interested? Well, I'm so glad you're watching the show, because we have somebody like that on the show today. And his name is Brian Copeland. He's been on the show before, and he's actually done that. And he's got a new book that's out that I want you to learn about, and I want you to get it. I've already read it, and it's fabulous. But this is stuff in this book will teach you how to be a rock star pre-sales engineer and be the favorite of all of your sales organization. So without further ado, let's talk to Brian Copeland. Brian, welcome back to the SMC Journal podcast. It's great to have you back with us.
Thanks, Scott. It's good to be here.
So it's been about 6 months or so since I talked to you, and my understanding is that you have some pretty big news for me. You are working on something pretty big. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, thanks, Scott. Yeah, we're just about ready to launch a new book. The book is called The Ultimate Solutioneer: How to Win Your Unfair Share of Business and Supercharge Your Pre-Sales Team. So it's all about pre-sales and how to build world-class pre-sales orgs.
I want to branch this outside of just like even software engineering and talk a little bit about how you came to be so good at doing pre-sales.
I think it was kind of born out of need, right? I worked in organizations where I was accountable for the revenue that was being generated within my function. And my function just happened to be, for a majority of my career, quality assurance and testing, right? But I found that we weren't selling very good deals. The deals we had started to become more commoditized. They were hours at a rate card versus real value being delivered to customers. So I started to invest in really building solution architects that could talk about the services that we offered from a value perspective, and to begin to put together solutions that transformed our customers and satisfied the problems they were trying to solve, delivering value for the customer while returning great revenue for us as a company. And I started to experiment and try new things. And as we tried those new things, we found better ways of doing it. So it was really born out of a lot of mistakes, frankly, right? Trying things and them not working, trying different things. And it came down to, it wasn't just about good process. It was about having the right skill sets, the right understanding about the customer landscape, all of those things together start to build out a better pre-sales function.
So, Brian, tell me, let's talk about the book. Why did you write the book, and how was that idea born?
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to fill a lot of different roles across the organization, both as a customer of solutions that vendors were selling, and then as the vendor myself. Right through those roles, I really gained experiences, like I said earlier, about out of the mistakes that I made, and found ways to overcome the challenges that we were facing with selling commoditized services. Right, as a pre-sales leader, I really recognize that I not only need to have better process, but I needed to identify what skills were necessary for us to put together compelling solutions that really got our customers into buying action, right? To get them to move and to move forward with us as a vendor. We recognized we weren't going to be satisfied with just winning our fair share of business. We wanted more. We wanted to win our unfair share. We wanted to have unprecedented win rates. And as we started to develop these formulas and this approach to pre-sales, I started to think about how can I help others achieve these and even greater results. And so that's really where the book was born out of, was just the experiences that I went through and seeing if there was a way that I could help others shortcut that process.
But isn't there like a million sales books out there right now? Like, why did you feel the need to add another book to the bookshelf?
Yeah, the one thing I can say about my career is that I've always prided myself on this kind of continuous learning approach. I've searched for and read all kinds of books on leaderships, on sales, but I never found a book that really took what I considered a practical approach to pre-sales. And I never found one that said, these are the characteristics that a solutioneer needs to have to be successful. So this book not only focuses on the characteristics of identifying and building great pre-sales team members, but it also focuses on how do you understand your customer landscape and put together solutions that are valuable to them. All too often, our pre-sales teams are seen as an afterthought within organizations. They just grab the next available architect and say, hey, go on this call and try to do great things. We're going to put you in front of the customer. You're going to say smart things, and the customer is going to give us business. The fact is, unless you treat your pre-sales team as a skilled and purposeful discipline, you're going to struggle to accelerate your win rates. It takes specific and specialized skills to become the ultimate solutioneer. The question I would put to your viewers is this. If I had a book that could tell you how to live a healthy, long, meaningful life, and I gave it to you, would you read it? If I had a book that would tell you how to be a better husband, father, wife, mother, would you read it? In order to be the best at anything, you got to learn the techniques and tools to become the best. This book provides you with the keys to becoming the ultimate solutioneer. It provides you practical actions you can take today to start winning your unfair share of business. But you first have to read it.
So you got my attention if I'm working in pre-sales right now. But tell me what am I going to get out of this if I read this book? What kind of things are you going to share with me?
Yeah. If you're in pre-sales, this book's for you, right? It was purposefully developed for you. You may feel you're doing really well, right? You may even be a top performer. But this book can help you validate your skills and behaviors against the skills and behaviors of an ultimate solutioneer. You get an inventory of the skills you may need to work on or even develop to move to that next level of performance. The best in any discipline spend their entire career trying to improve and master just one more skill. This book provides you with that roadmap against which to benchmark your skills. You might even learn something about pre-sales you didn't know before. This book doesn't have every answer, but it can help you inventory what you're doing well and where to focus on improvement.
So let's say I'm in pre-sales, but I also have to work with salespeople. Can salespeople get something out of this book as well?
Oh, yeah. As a leader of a very large pre-sales organization, I can't tell you how many hours I spent talking to frustrated sellers about the solutioneer that was assigned to their opportunity. They always had that one solutioneer they wanted assigned to their deals because something about that individual worked better than others. They couldn't always pinpoint the exact skill they had, but they could tell you when they had a winner. Sellers who read this book can understand the skills and behaviors they should expect from their pre-sales partner. The more sellers understand about the role, the skills, the behaviors that drive success, the better they can advocate for a better pre-sales team. You know, the learnings in this book don't just apply to pre-sales people. Salespeople can gain knowledge how to improve their skills through this book. While it's focused on pre-sales, other disciplines can gain knowledge that makes them better in their role.
Okay. So you keep mentioning this word solutioneer, and some people may not know what that means. How did you come up with that, and what does it really mean?
Yeah, there's no great mystery there. Solutioneer is just a combination of solution and engineer, right? Some companies call them solution architects, some call them solutioneers or solution engineers. If you remember many years ago, Disney rolled out the term Imagineer. It represented a combination of kind of creativity and creation. Their Imagineers could imagine great stories and then create really cool ways of telling those stories. The same is true for Solutioneers. Solutioneers can understand and align with the customer's imagination and then create inventive ways to solve that customer's vision. It's just a fun way of referencing our team members.
I'm more of the Mouseketeer, but I could see us doing a theme on this. SOLUTIONE. I mean, we could do that.
Yep.
So in the book, which I have had the privilege of being able to see an early version of this book, and it is great. And what's interesting to me is to see the stories as they happened live. I was there when you had to come up with some of these solutions, and that wasn't always a pretty thing. But you talk about 5 different kinds of buyers in this book. Can you kind of go through what that is, what that means?
Yeah, this to me is probably one of the most important constructs that's in the book. In the entire opportunity life cycle, from the time you get an opportunity coming in and interest to the time you close it as won or close it as lost, right? You interact with a lot of different roles within the customer landscape. If you're to ask most sellers and most pre-sales people, who's your buyer? They're likely going to tell you, hey, it's Bill. Bill is trying to buy from us this testing service or this development service. The book discusses 5 buying personas, some of which are often ignored till late and well into the opportunity and pursuit lifecycle, almost too late. The most often referenced buyer is that functional buyer. That's the person looking for the service from your company, right? If you only focus on this buyer, you limit your ability to expand on your value proposition and to address some of the key constituencies within the customer. You need to consider all 5 buyers. The functional buyer we just talked about. The second buyer is the strategic buyer. They're the one who's accountable for the initiative at a senior executive level. If you can tie into that buyer, you can work across the entire strategic landscape, right? Instead of in one functional silo. The next buyer is that financial buyer. They're accountable for the budget and making purchasing decisions with that budget. If you don't consider them and say how your solution is going to fit into their budget or is going to help them achieve more, you're not going to win the deal. You have to consider the business buyer. Who is ultimately benefiting from the service that you're providing? How does the initiative and the service that you're going to deliver benefit the business? What's the business outcome you're driving? And then finally, the buyer everybody loves to forget is the procurement buyer. That buyer is accountable for ensuring that the company meets the standards around purchasing and acquisition and to ensure that they're followed. If you ignore them, until late, you're probably going to have to go refactor your solution to meet with their objectives. So it's really important to engage them early and throughout the pursuit lifecycle. And we talk about that in the book and how to do that. You ignore any one of these buyers at your own peril. Great solutioneers ensure that all buyers' needs are addressed in their proposal.
You said when somebody is thinking about buying any kinds of technology or the technology that they're deciding to use for their company, if the reason they're making the purchasing decision is not for the betterment of the company overall, if it's for any other reason, like they're just familiar with that technology or they played golf with the guy who runs that software company and their friends, any other reason than that, you are wasting company treasure. Am I getting that right?
Yes. Yeah,
Can you just talk a little bit about that? Because that has transformed the way I think now.
there's only two reasons a company should take on an initiative. One, there's either some problem they need to eliminate, some waste, some problem, some issue, right? Or there's some opportunity they want to take advantage of. Everything else is a waste of company value, right? So when you look at the whole buying process, you as a solutioneer who's putting together a proposal for a customer, it's really important that you understand what customer opportunity or problem is your solution addressing and how is it addressing it, so that you can tie into the strategic initiative of the company and show your customer how what you're providing moves them on their journey. So many customers take on projects and activities that don't move the company forward. They can be, it's a pet project. We love this technology. We have a solution. We're just trying to find a problem to solve with it, right? Good companies really challenge why they're spending money, and they understand how that acquisition, that spending of treasure is going to input or create business value. That value can come in savings and that value can come in new revenue. So you as a solutioneer need to understand how you're going to tie into that.
So let's say that I am maybe in pre-sales, I'm getting into pre-sales. I want to be the ultimate rock star pre-sales person. You got me, you got my attention, and I want to be the ultimate solutioneer. What is the best piece of advice you could give me if I want to be that?
Yeah, I made it a habit to meet with all the new solutioneers that came into our org. It was really important to get to know them personally and what drives them. But I also wanted them to understand our pre-sales charter and expectations, right? I would tell them that their job is one of support and service. First, their job was to support sales during the pursuit process and provide compelling solutions that resonate with the customer and motivate them into buying action, right? Core piece of their job. But secondly, and more importantly, their job was to serve our business's practices and delivery areas. In other words, their job was to provide services that our delivery teams could actually deliver well and protect the deal structure to ensure that we could actually deliver it successfully. So the pre-sales organization supports sales, but serves the practices. And anybody getting into solutioning needs to keep that first and foremost in their mind. That, yes, I'm here to help sales get the sale, but it doesn't do any good to sell something that we can't actually deliver well, or that we put our delivery at such risk because we make it so streamlined and light that we can't actually deliver. So as people are coming into pre-sales, they need to understand their role and then gain the skills it takes to be able to support those two compelling pieces of their job.
So I want to also mention about your new company as well. You've got a new company called Solutionment, and I'm going to bring that up on the screen. Can you talk a little bit about this and how people can get in touch with you if they want to know more about what you do?
Sure. So I've created Solutionment really as a place for pre-sales teams and solution architects, solution engineers to find good training, and process, right? So we're in the process of developing a badging set of badges, both skill badges and experience badges for Solutioneers to help them gain confidence that they're ready to be the ultimate Solutioneer. So this company is 100% focused on pre-sales and sales enablement activities and on advisory services around pre-sales, around business strategy. We do a lot of discovery workshop work where we help discover new process, new methodologies, and new approaches to delivering value within the organization. So we're just getting started. So I'm really excited about it. And as we get more out there, there'll be more on the site. But you can reach out to me, just brian@solutionment.com, and I'm happy to have a conversation with you about how we might help you and what we have coming. But it's all going to be based on the learnings within this book.
We will make sure that we have links and descriptions of the book and how people can get this book when it comes out. And I'd also like for you to say, is there anything else you would like to say to somebody if they're interested in getting this book?
Yeah, thanks for this question, because I think I want to make it clear this book isn't created to be a recipe you follow step by step by step by step. Every organization and every individual is on their own journey. This book is just a collection of skills, behaviors, activities, and approaches that I've found to be successful. This book doesn't cover every potential technique to build a successful pre-sales function. I've done my best to share my experience with the reader and hopefully give him some actions they can incorporate into their journey. I've tried to be really practical in the approach to building successful teams, but it's really important that the work is for the reader to do. One final thing I would say, that your success has to be purposeful. You won't build a pre-sales team that outperforms the market if you don't invest in building the skills and behaviors that drive success. You can't just get some good people together and hope they come up with a great outcome. That's gambling and a waste of shareholder value. I hope you pick up a copy and seriously consider the ideas and concepts. There's no time like right now to get started on achieving your unfair share of business. Finally, savor the journey. The journey of learning and improving is the greatest part of the experience. Yes, it's great to get to those great outcomes, but strengthening yourself, strengthening your organization, improving it, seeing it grow, seeing people have those aha moments where they start to recognize they can do it. That's where the value is. So savor that journey.
Thank you so much for giving us this time, and good luck with the book.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it a lot.
You know, that part where we talk about wasting company treasure just keeps resonating with me. If you're buying software for any other reason, you are wasting company treasure. That's a big thing with me, and that's the reason why I don't just go after whatever's free or whatever's open source. I want to choose what is the best for the company, and you have to have that business context there. I can tell you this in this book. The stuff that Brian puts in it, it's real. It really happened to him. I was there for some of it, and I know this actually works. I have seen it firsthand. So I encourage you, get a hold of this book and give us some feedback as well. I'd like to know what you do think about the book. I'm pretty easy to reach out to, and Brian told you how to reach out to him. Scan that QR code or you go to that link page there, you can find me. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn as well. So you can always send me an email at heyscott@smcjournal.com. Love to hear what you think about the show and the book. And it'd be really great if you like this kind of content, if you were to click that like button and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And you can find that YouTube channel online, and you're watching it on this channel right now. So it'd be great if you were to subscribe. That would help me and encourage me to make more episodes for you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next SMC Journal. This is Scott Moore saying thanks, and bye-bye.